Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fatback 4. Sorry we're late. We are 4 minutes late, and it's not down to Grizz, it's actually down to me.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you...
I know, yeah. I was out last night. I got home very late. I'm struggling badly today. But it actually wasn't... it actually wasn't down to the drink that I was late. It was technical issues, as you say. With me this evening, Matt is away but in another country doing something. We didn't even bother asking what it was. But what else? We have Grizz, we have Peter Phillips. We're going to have a little chat around the Napoli game that went on today. We're going to have a chat around the transfer window that's going to be closing. Harvey Elliott has been signed. Different bits and pieces, and whatever comments come from you as well, we will do that. This show will be about 45 minutes long, and after that then we will shut it down, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Right, where do we go? Peter, first up, Liverpool 0, Napoli 3, from Murrayfield today. It is pre-season, they're getting minutes in their legs, all this sort of stuff, but to be brutally honest, I thought Liverpool were very lethargic and disappointing, to be perfectly honest. What was your take on it?
Yeah, well, like you say, it was pretty poor performance, wasn't it? Especially the first half, and with just 12 days to go till the start of the season. I know you're missing your front three of Mane, Firmino, Salah, plus Keita and Shaqiri and Alisson. But to be honest, you do expect more from the team at this stage of the season. Like I say, 12 days to go, and it wasn't looking very good. It was looking pretty much a shambles, wasn't it? But I think most importantly, the thing is that we need to take from the game, and a lot of people have been saying is the fitness from the game. Good job it's a pre-season game, because there's lots for Jurgen Klopp to work on, isn't there? And I think going into the City game next week, it's one of them. It's a glorified friendly, isn't it? And I think that's a game now, as well as the Lyon, that we need to prepare for the Norwich game, i.e. tactically and defensively, because today was basically was a no-show, wasn't it? Apart from when the young kids come on with 20 minutes to go, they showed a lot of desire, didn't they? I thought Hoover done really well, Brewster, Harry Wilson, and the young 16-year-old Elliott, who didn't do no wrong and looked pretty assured for a young kid coming into making his debut in a sellout stadium like that, and in Scotland was really, really good to see. So yeah, lots of things to work on, and going on to Lyon Wednesday now.
Great for me. Watching the game, it was a strong back four. It was a strong midfield. It's a makeshift forward line, because the majority of the players we have missing, because of international duty and stuff, are our forward players. But again, it went back to, like, Sporting Lisbon game, we looked a bit more creative and stuff like that. But today it went back to more just, doing the basics, holding onto the ball, not looking to penetrate, and then even defending wise against the goals. It wasn't great cover or tracking and stuff. It just looked very lethargic to me. Like, I don't know whether they trained already today, but before the game, but it just looked very, 70% pace probably. Was that what it looked like to you? Is it just a case of they're going at this pace and building themselves up to not even the Charity Shield, Norwich at home? Or is it a case where you're looking at it going, oh, I'm a bit worried here, like they're not even doing the simple things properly?
Yeah, overall I'm not worried. As we've discussed a few times, it is just, you don't look at the results at this stage. You're just kind of trying to get minutes, as you said, in your legs, and you're trying to work up towards fitness. I've calmed down a little bit in terms of worrying about being critical of the game today. So overall, I'm not worried, but I was critical of the performance, especially from a defensive point of view, because it's been established that they done a double session yesterday, and they travelled on the day today. So that explains it, to doing a double session and then on the back of just flying back from the USA a few days ago. So at the end of the day, we've got to realize they are humans, and these kind of things do catch up with you. And we also know Klopp is a hard hard taskmaster, so he's probably flogged them in training as well, which is all well and good. So, look, I've since reading that and since finding out that in the double session and they've travelled this morning, it kind of explains sort of the legginess slightly. I also wouldn't be critical of the attack being looking blunt. Gav, is without 5 of our creative attacking.
Oh no, I wouldn't for a second go on about the attack.
Yeah.
I think it's very makeshift.
I did expect a better, solid defensive performance. Remember we discussed in Sporting that Klopp is slowly showing signs of slight agitation in terms of
absolutely
why they're conceding so many soft goals and how easily teams are sort of getting through us. I mean, you've got to remember they've scored 3 today, and I think Mignolet saved about 3-4 as well, whereas the other keepers made maybe I think 1 or 2 saves near the end there. So yeah, from a defensive point of view, especially considering, I mean, I know Alisson's a huge factor, but considering we've got the back 4 and the midfield that we're likely to be setting up with, that's the only slightly concerning issue for me.
Yeah, no, because I was just looking at the fourth goal there. We kind of Origi loses the ball. There's no real pressure to break, to win it back. It's a good ball over the back, and then Insigne gets onto it, and Joe Matip would usually get in close to him and usher him out to the left hand side and make it difficult, and there be communication there between the defenders and stuff. But he literally just strolls over towards him. The guy cuts inside. He takes a shot. Matip doesn't even outstretch a leg. It was all a bit. And I kind of looked at it and I thought to myself, is it a thing to be worried about, or is it just literally they're building at a certain pace? But maybe they're building at a certain pace. But Klopp is agitated at the fact that while the fitness is building fine, I don't think the application is, and it might be something that's getting to him. Because for me, Klopp should be he should be going into City at about 90%. He should be going in there about 90%. Playing the game, that's the last of the tests, the physical tests sort of, and then they come in on the Monday or the Tuesday, and they've 3-4 days, and they're at it then 100%, and that 3 or 4 days is used for tactical work and stuff like that going into the Norwich game. I think that's what his plan will be, but at the same time, I think he is looking, going, lads, I know you might be only at 70%, like somebody there says 60%, another person says they're not overly worried, but we have looked all over the place defensively. And I think it's more application than organisation. I think fellas just not giving it that extra bit, or probably not having that extra bit in them right now. But I'd be hoping that come the City game, we're going in there at 90%, and I'm hoping that's what he's looking for. A lot of people there mention Ox and Trent looking tired. I think Trent does look, his touch looks off. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain should stay as far away from that right wing position as he possibly can, because it does not suit him. He has his back to goal way too much. And he's not that sort of player. Pierre, you said there we only have whatever amount of days to the season starting now. Is it 2 weeks today? No,
12 days.
12 days. Sorry,
start on the Friday.
Start on the Friday. Obviously, how did I not know that would be there? But for you, is it something where you're just thinking it's a build up, and you want to come out of the City game with that fitness spot on and looking tactically then for the couple of days before Norwich, or are you thinking no, there's more to this? Are you on the fence on it?
Well, my observations from today's game, I wrote some down before the show started, and there was a lot of negatives, to be honest with you, from today's game, and I don't really want to focus on the negatives. I'd rather be positive about the team going forward, but it's hard to dismiss them negative issues that was there from today. So some of the things I thought to myself, there was nothing really up front in the first half. Origi's touch was off. There was no creativity from midfield. There was no movement. Players all over the pitch was static, really. Defence looked like it hadn't really played together. They was being cut open by Insigne on numerous occasions. Looked like the defence was seriously missing Alisson, because as we know, Mignolet, he's done a job as the back number 2 last season, a very good job backing Alisson up, even though we didn't come onto the pitch much last season, and it's probably the best way, because as you've seen today, that second goal where he's just parried it out straight into, I think it come deflected off Van Dijk and into the path of the Napoli striker who had a the tap in. So he should be catching that one for me, Simon Mignolet. So yeah, there's lots of issues for Klopp to get sorted out before the season starts for me. But like I say, it's a good job. It's just pre-season, and we can work on all these issues before the season starts. Starting with Leon on Wednesday. I know Klopp's already said that his press conference, hasn't he, after this, that he's gonna things are gonna be different, and he's gonna demand a response immediately from the team. And you've seen that second half, didn't you? When the team come out, it was pretty much a different team. They had a bollocking at half time, to be honest. And when the young lads came on, it was good to see, because they shown a lot more desire for me. They was energetic. They looked lively. So for me, a lot of them need to start in the game against Leon on Wednesday, and then see what happens in the Manchester City game. If they impress again, why not give them a go? We just have to see. It's a glorified pre-season friendly. So let's see what happens on Wednesday if he gives the young lads a chance again. Yeah,
he might do, but someone's made a point there that they'd be very surprised if 8 of that team that started today didn't actually start against Norwich at the start on the fourth day of the season. Grizz, for argument's sake, the players that we have now get into a nice fitness, get the City at 90-95%, get through the City game, and they're good to go for Norwich. Would you be concerned at the lads coming back, your Alissons, Firminos, Keita and Shaqiri are apparently joining us in France. You have Mane, Salah. Would you be concerned then that we've worked this summer to get these lads up to fitness? The other lads coming back late now are trying to add into the mix. Would you be tempted to go into the start of the season and try rest as many of them as you can, try to give them an extra week off? I know it's a big question, but I thought I'd ask it.
I mean, in an ideal situation, if we showed any sign of fluidity in pre-season, and if the players like your Wilsons, your Brewsters, Brewster, fair enough, your attacking players showed any sign of gelling and sort of, showing that they could get through that first game at home against Norwich with a win, even if we have to scrape a win. In an ideal scenario, you'd like to give the big boys, not all of them, maybe Bobby back and Salah, maybe Mane. You'd like to give maybe one or two of them an extra week off, because we'll probably go through this again, but we will need them throughout the season. Considering we haven't added to the attack. It's not ideal. I don't think we're in a position to give them another week off now. I think the attack looks so blunt without them. I think they will have to be sort of replayed. I don't think we can. I can't even, basing on last season, we can't even afford to drop a fucking point, can we, against this machine that are City? So we've got to look to get 3 points in every single game, and that means sort of playing our best team. I don't think we'll see a strong team against Leon. I think we'll see a lot of the kids start. It definitely won't be strong as it's today. And then I think we go really strong against Man City and see what kind of level fitness we're at in terms of shape, and sort of, that will give an indication of what he does against Norwich on Friday. I think that's my opinion. The lads that are coming back, apparently they've been training. For example, Naby and Shaq have been training with the first team. They've had a session. So let's say they have another couple of sessions. Well, another session before the Leon game. They may get some minutes, and then it'll be a very similar team to today. It'll probably be the exact same team that plays the Charity Shield, and then we take it from there. But ideal scenario would be to give the lads, at least one, maybe two of them, a rest, because we should have enough to beat Norwich at home. But I don't think, the way pre-season's going, I don't think we can say that that's going to happen now.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, it's the opening day of the season, and anything can happen on the opening day of the season. You've seen countless times before you go and you play anybody, and anything can happen. It's just one of those. Norwich, 10 games in, you're going, yeah, we sweep them aside. Just the way it is. But when is Mane and Salah and Firmino and Alisson due back?
Everyone's due back tomorrow, bar Mane.
Mane, and when is Mane due back?
Mane's due back. Is it a couple of days before Norwich? Is it, Pete? It's the following week, basically.
Yeah, it's after the. I think it's after the Charity Shield match. Yeah, the following Monday.
So everyone's back tomorrow, bar Mane, who gets the extra week.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would it be fair, Peter, to say that, like Grizz said, we could go in with a fairly young team against Lyon, add in a bit of experience later on in the game, go into the main lads will get their fitness up during the week and probably look at some tactical stuff during the week, play Man City on the Sunday, Mane comes back on the Monday, and then we end up with a team of Alisson, Trent, Virgil van Dijk, Matip, Robertson, pick three in midfield and the three main boys up front. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's a fair assumption of what I'm saying? Do you think we're making a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty much the team that'll start. But you've also got the situation, haven't you, of Joe Matip. He's not coming into the best of form, is he? So you've got Joe Gomez there, who's coming into the equation as well if he wants to step up to the plate. Also, you've got the like you say, Shaqiri, Keita coming back into the side. The front three, I don't think Mane will feature against Norwich, possibly off the bench with only coming back a week before. But all the other main players should be involved in that first Premier League game. Could possibly on the bench, Mane as a backup in case we do need someone a little bit extra substitution maybe in the second half. But I can't see all being well, Mane featuring in the first game against Norwich. He'll probably likely his first appearance will be in the Super Cup game against Chelsea, which is on the following Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday, isn't it? After the Norwich game. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens. You've also got to take into account, haven't you, how fit is Mane and Salah and Bobby going to be after their break. I hope, well, they should have been doing their own fitness programs while they're away to keep themselves ticking over. It's the match fitness that Klopp may be worried about going into the first game. So hopefully they'll get some minutes against Manchester City and be ready for Norwich themselves. Yeah,
because I'm just looking at that. I think you might see them lads get 20 minutes on Wednesday night against Lyon. I think you might see them get. They'd probably have to push it to 45 minutes for a few of them come Sunday and then ready to go against Norwich. Barry Carr says Van der Berg, Hoover, Phillips, Lewis, Jones, Wilson, Kent, Brewster, Elliott, Duncan is the team for Wednesday. He might have a point because he's although you're trying to get people fit, you're trying to protect them for the start of the season as well. Grizz, I have a question for you. Jared Davis asks, why are no journos asking Klopp for updates on any transfers? That's a fair question, Grizz, because nobody seems to be pushing him on it and really pushing him on it. You know, if this wasn't Klopp and this was, I don't know, name another Liverpool manager, Brendan Rodgers, I think that he'd be getting questioned every single day about transfers. Has he just got enough credit in the bank and journals are afraid of him? Is that what do you think, Grizz?
I think there's very much an element of that. He's very charismatic and he has this aura about him, and he is known to be. I mean, everyone's got this image of Klopp being very ha and friendly with the journos, etc. But he has got this sarcastic side to him where he can sort of be slightly at times condescending with press, which is absolutely fine by me. I like, Fergie was the king of that. Poor Wenger wasn't, and he used to get slaughtered and crucified as a result. And Fergie used to get an easy ride. So I can understand Klopp being like that, and I think he's made it abundantly clear, and the club have sort of sent messages via our journalists that we're not doing, and they said it early, so we're not doing much. Some people thought it's to lower expectations, or whatever the situation may be. I think you're right. I think there is a hesitancy in some of the journals really pushing him, and I think a lot of them are sort of maybe a bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Intimidated, slightly intimidated by,
I
you
think
know,
they might
what.
be apprehensive about going up against them and asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, he can. He's got this slightly petulant side to him sometimes. I've noticed it in press conferences, where he kind of, you know, plays dumb, or, pretends he didn't understand the question, or sort of, so he has got this side to him. But listen, at the end of the day, he's the main boss man, isn't he? He's the gaffer. And as much as some people, hate that phrase, but it is, we've got to trust the man. And as you said, I think it's fair to say he's got enough credit in his bank to sort of have that power and control over the local media and, definitely the fan base.
You see, Kev O'Sullivan says there they like the access they currently have. They do have good access currently, with access to players and the manager and stuff like that for interviews throughout the season, not only in pre-season. I think there is an element to it of not wanting to rock a boat, and as and an element of, it's a pretty tightly knit club with regards to information at the moment. If we push this, it's going to get even tighter. We'll literally be getting standards, press releases and stuff like that to work off. Peter, the transfer window is edging close to closure, I suppose. I think it closes next Wednesday, which gives us about 10 days now left in the transfer window. Looking at the way things are going, it seems there's a lot of, it's all being hyped up now. Like this Pepe thing up to Arsenal is gone from us to Napoli to Arsenal, to 4 clubs, 3 unnamed clubs. It's a circus at this stage. But we still haven't seen a major signing. There's a guy that watches this show called Avi Hanser. He's all over Bruno Fernandes, and he has until we've given him a deadline until the show tomorrow night. If it doesn't happen by then, we're going to start questioning Avi Hanser. All in good spirits, nothing like outrageous. But for you, look, there's 10 days left. Do you still have a feeling in your gut that Liverpool do something, or do you think no? I really feel like he's settled on what he has now?
Yeah, well, with, like we say, 12 days to go to the start of the season, usually Klopp likes to bring any new player in at the start, doesn't he, to get him his fitness built up, get him used to the systems and the tactics that he utilises during games and training sessions. So it's looking less and less likely, isn't it? I just hope myself that there is 1 or 2 possible surprises, a couple of irons in the fire maybe that we don't know about. Bruno Fernandes has been mentioned. Like we spoke to Avi on the chat room the other night, didn't we? And he was pretty adamant that Bruno Fernandes is one that Liverpool have looked at. So he's been linked heavily with Manchester United, hasn't he, and other teams. But I just think, is he a player who could come in and make a difference? I personally think he is. I think he's a creative player. I think he scored 32 goals in Portugal last year, something like 25 assists. I know the league isn't as superior as the Premier League, but he's a player who can unlock defences. So for me, there was too many players on that pitch today. We had 5 central midfield players playing on that pitch. 2 of them played out wide, Gini Wijnaldum and Oxlade-Chamberlain. So for me, there's a need for a wide player backup. Can Fernandes play in one of them positions, or he tends to play just like an inside left, doesn't he, of the midfield? So he's definitely a player who can unlock defences and create stuff. So for me, he's also better than your likes of your Adam Lallana's and people like that. It's no question for me that Bruno Fernandes is a player who would improve our squad and improve our first 11 probably on some occasions when the likes of Keita and other players are injured. He's one who can step in and be at the same level, if not better than some of them players that's already in that midfield, especially creativity wise.
Yeah, it's for me, like I've said all along, 1 or 2 players. I stuck with 2 last week, and my bet is slowly sinking as we get closer to next Wednesday. I think when the window closes, but and I've had this conversation throughout the week on the FB4 Daily about, are we worried? Are we concerned? Are we annoyed? Are we upset? I'm on the side that I'm happy with the squad. I would have slight concerns, and I think that's okay to have. But Grizz, looking at the squad now and how it's lined up, and especially the way you have players coming in at different times and different fitness levels, and like you said earlier, you can barely afford to drop a point playing up against this City side. We get to next Wednesday night, Grizz, and the window closes, and we haven't done any business on top of Sepp van den Berg and Harvey Elliott. What's your feelings? All things being equal, what's your feelings going into that?
Well, if we don't,
yeah, we just what we have now.
I've told you in private, and I'm telling you here as well. And I still think we bring in one. But if we don't, then I will have the same concerns as, in my opinion, the majority of the fan base would have. There's a lot of rubbish on Twitter where everyone's jumping from sort of despair and sort of suddenly, only 6-8 weeks ago we were champions of Europe and the best things in sliced bread and club, and now suddenly is the despair and sort of absolute doom and gloom. So I wouldn't be like that, but I would have genuine concerns, and I think the majority and sort of sensible, rational, sane fans would, and that would be around the amount of minutes that our front three have played and will be asked to play in the next season. I mean, we've had 2 seasons of them, guys, where we've actually really worked them really, really loads in it. So, there would be a concern in terms of in the drop off of quality if them 3 wouldn't be available. And, with Shaqiri, is he really a front 3 man? He's more of a attacking midfielder, maybe you could say, or a winger. So the concern would be justified, I think, if we didn't bring in a player. But I still think we will bring in a player. I just think the rest of the squad is actually fine, Gav. The left back scenario is a strange one. The fullback area, I mean, as we've discussed, on the right side it's the fullback area is covered in terms of, I think, Hoover, Joe Gomez, and even Milner covers there.
Yeah, do you know something, Grizz? I was going to go into this, right? And I was trying to think, for me, if you're naming a squad, Grizz, you can't name the likes of Joe Gomez as your third choice centre back and your third choice right back. I don't think you can. I think Joe Gomez has made it pretty clear that he wants to be a centre half for Liverpool, and I think it's a little bit. It's a little bit. I don't know what way to put this, but we're dodging a situation if we keep naming Gomez as this right back cover. That's my opinion.
Well, I don't think it's Joe Gomez's choice at this stage, especially with his age and etc., where he plays. I think Jurgen Klopp is still and will still decide that if he needs him at fullback, he will play him there. Klopp's the kind of kind of coach where he's quite, he's rigid when he can put his foot down when he needs to. And I think, Gomez may think that he wants to play at centre half, and yeah, he will, majority of his career play at centre half. But if the needs be, then he will play at right back. I've been really impressed with this Hoover kid, Gav. I think he's coming on leaps and bounds.
I agree.
Every time I see him, he just doesn't remind me of Zanetti. He just reminds me. I mean, he's so Cafu, but he's actually a tad too overconfident on the ball, if you know what I mean, for like a high grade Premier League game.
Do you know what, Chris? A really interesting comment come in here, right, from Gary Paul, and he says, "We have to be honest. We don't have the depth. Just be honest instead of trying too hard to be positive." Right? I think. No. You see, I always go back to last season, right? and I've said this a few times. Man City were lauded last season for the squad they had, right? And how they had this and how they had that, and they had everything covered and everything else, right? And Liverpool have always been knocked about their squad depth. And Liverpool got beaten by a point by Man City, right? None of it came down to squad depth. Simple as fucking that. It came down to two teams being outrageously good and one managing to nick an extra point off the other. You know, and Man City were knocked out early in a quarterfinals of the Champions League. You know what I mean? They were going through the cups. They were playing fucking nobodies all the way through the cups. I think they won the FA Cup final 6-0.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So
you've got to give context. It was a freak season.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when people say, Grizz, to you, that we don't have the depth, right? If I always put it to them, if we had 6 or 8 games left in the end of the season and we were top of the league by 2 points or level, and then City went and used squad depth to go through the last games of the season, winning them all, and we ended up finishing 10 points off them, right? You'd point to squad depth. I think it's hard to point to squad depth when you look at the season Liverpool have had. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, this squad depth is so overplayed. It's becoming irritating now. We have actually got very good squad depth, bar the positions that we just said. You know, the only 2 positions we haven't got, even though we've got depth. See, the thing is, people are confusing in terms of depth and quality of squad depth. See, the thing is, we've got depth in our front 3. You know, we've got the likes of Brewster, Origi, and Shaqiri, and maybe Wilson. You know, but the quality isn't. So, the drop off is where the concern lies. The drop off in quality of the depth is possibly just below City's. But then, whose is comparable to City's? You know, there's no one. I mean, you know, you take out Harry Kane and Harry Kane and Lucas Moura for Spurs. Who's left for Spurs? You know, you take out Aubameyang and Lacazette for Arsenal. Who's left for Arsenal? So, you know, it is overplayed. We've built up a squad that he absolutely trusts 100%. He's built up not a team, a squad of about 15, 16 that he trusts like mad. Yeah. Yes, we are lacking someone who's just underneath that level of Mane, Bobby, and Salah. It's difficult to get someone in who's just going to sit on the bench for the majority of the time and play the odd game and then just pay 70 million for him. It just doesn't make sense in Klopp's or FSG's mind, and we can't really criticize them for that because at the moment they've made very, very few mistakes. We're building up scenarios in our heads and minds that haven't taken place. And we're just deciding to go with that scenario and be negative about it and say, what if? Well, what if it happens, then, they'll have to face the brunt of it and Klopp he'll deal with it accordingly.
Yeah. Do you know something, Peter? There's been, like, Gary Paul, in fairness to him, comes back to me and says, what if Salah or Mane get injured? There's no one with the same quality. I fully agree with that because I've said if we were bringing somebody in, I'd like somebody to come in and challenge that front 3. And not only challenge them, be there if an issue happens. I do agree with that. But I just think, Pierre, if you're looking at the squad and the quality of the squad, would you agree with Grizz that when you look through it, it's probably a left back and it's probably an attacking player light? And if that was to be rectified in the next 10 days or so, you would be completely and utterly confident going into the season?
Yeah, I'd agree totally with what Grizz was saying there. I think apart from them 2 positions, we're pretty much covered to 2 to 3 players for each position, aren't we? I think there's about 8 midfielders the last time.
Probably better than anyone else, Peter.
Yeah, you've got 4 central defenders in Matip, Van Dijk, Gomez, Lovren, and the boy Van der Berg who's come in as well now. Right back, you've got Gomez. Trent obviously first choice, and then also Milner and Henderson has played there in the past. Like I say, midfield spoiled for choice there, isn't he? That's the dilemma that Klopp has each week, which 3 of them, or if he plays a different position, which 2 holding players and 3 in front does he go with, like we've seen last season. So yeah, it is the 2 wide positions. You're looking at a player who can cover the right and left for me. And then, like you say, somebody who could fill in for Andrew Robertson should he be out with for whatever reason. That's a position where where we definitely need cover. So, but also you've got Milner who can fill in there, haven't you? And you've got the two young lads, Larouci and Adam Lewis. So you've seen before that Klopp's willing to give youth an opportunity, like he showed with Trent putting him in for his full debut against Manchester United away. So he's not scared at all to throw in a young lad and see if he sinks or swims. So that's one thing that Liverpool fans are used to with Jurgen Klopp is he does give youth a chance.
I think that Larouci, I've got a very sneaky feeling. I mean, we don't really know what the state of his injury is. I think it was basic. It was like weeks as opposed to months, and they said it's not too bad.
Heavy bruising, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but I really think, Gavin Peter, I really think Larouci is gone ahead of Adam Lewis in thinking. And
yeah, I'd agree with that.
I had a sneaky feeling, we wouldn't, after seeing him play and just before he got injured, he was, for me, again, he was one of the standout performers in that game against, who was it? Was it Sporting? Seville game. Yeah, sorry. It was a Seville game and he stood out for me. He really did. And I was really, really upset. Not for him, obviously, but, I was really, I really wanted to see more of that. I think we may stick with him as this deputy to Robbo, along with the likes of Milner and sort of thing, and maybe not go for a left back and then just go for a forward.
It could be. Do you know what?
I'd be happy with that.
I think that might be the most viable situation right now. I think he has looked. He could. Sorry, I don't 100% think he's done this, but it could be a case where he's looked and thought, no, look, this left back, I'm going to go with him. I only need him for X amount of games, which I can get him through if needs be, like Larouci, right? And then it leaves him needing one player, and he goes and he gets this one player. Somebody asked there, is John W. Henry a man of his word? And a lot of people, I'm not ignoring your comments, by the way, they're all on my screen here. It's just there's so many going so quick. I'm trying to just pick and choose as we go. But somebody else says there, someone made a point that, City have, covering all the different things. City are spending, 100 million on two fullbacks. The kind of way that they're playing a different financial game to us, despite us being absolutely brilliant financially and in probably the best financial state that this club has ever been in. You're still playing a different ball game to City when it comes to finances. We all know what that is, and you can be as strong as you possibly want, but when you're playing up against something like that can just throw 100 million down on two fullbacks that will probably play 15 games between them, it's a different thing altogether. So comparing us to City with spend is something I don't usually do, but I would still contest that Liverpool squad is most definitely good enough to go and win a league. I genuinely believe that. Pierre, we're looking at the season, and we're looking at it being 12 days away, as you said. Apart from us and City, because we're going on about these transfers all the time, and why haven't we done anything? We're in a great position squad-wise, morale-wise. We've a European Cup sitting, on the table. We're really, really in great shape, and how our fans wanting a player to come in. It's just how summers go. The kind of way you want something every summer. It's like wanting something really good at Christmas every year. But looking around it, and I'm very interested in looking at our other teams as well, because despite us not doing anything massive in the market, I still feel we're way ahead of the other clubs around us. And all these clubs that actually need to do a hell of a lot aren't really doing a hell of a lot. Is there anybody that surprised you in what they've done, or in fact haven't done, I suppose, with 12 days to go before the window?
Well, yeah, I think Tottenham have strengthened pretty well. I think they've brought in Ndombele, the midfielder, who looks like a pretty much powerhouse of a midfielder from Lyon. He's done good things over there in the Champions League, so they strengthened with him, and I can't remember the other one. I think they have brought another player in. I'm surprised
they brought in Ndombele. They brought in, is it Jack?
The young lad from Leeds as well.
And they've sent him back on loan.
Yeah.
And
right, okay.
And they've sold Kieran Trippier, and apparently they're letting Danny Rose go, and they're letting Aurier go. And then there's talk of Diabala and Eriksen and all sorts of stuff going on. So that's where Spurs kind of stand at the moment.
Yeah, you've also got the situation with Manchester United, haven't you? Everyone thought they'd be doing much more business, and looks like it's coming towards the last couple of weeks now. Are they going to go out and spend big? I know the Maguire situation's still running on, isn't it? I don't think they've agreed the fee with Leicester over him. So I know they brought in Wan-Bissaka earlier, but is he an improvement on the teams around him in that position? I'd say possibly not. He's come from a Crystal Palace side who finished the lower half of the table, who struggled defensively. He's not made his full England debut. I don't think he's still playing in the England youth side, so he's another one. Everton have brought in some experience with Fabian Delph. I know they're looking at Wolves are hard as well, aren't they? Whether they can tempt Crystal Palace with enough money. I think that someone said before that they'd had a £55 million bid rejected by Palace. So unless they go back in with more money, the likelihood is he'll either stay at Palace or he'll go elsewhere unless Everton cough up how much Palace are after for him. So yeah, I don't think there's it's been a very, very strange transfer window, hasn't it? The teams haven't done much business whatsoever, and you could see a few panic buys coming up towards the end of this window. You could see the likes of United, Arsenal going out and spending big on players who are not necessarily a fit for their team, but exactly. Someone like a Bale who spends half his time on the substitutes bench, either injured or not interested in playing because he wants to play golf or whatever he said. So yeah, you've got the likes of him whose attitude seems to be wrong, who Manchester United could go and sign. So yeah, there's I think in the last couple of weeks of the window, you will see movements, and you could see one or two surprises happening around the Premier League, definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at them, and I think Chelsea obviously can't do anything. They're just snookered the way they are, and that Frank Lampard appointment, I suppose, says it all. Arsenal supposedly not only having a £40 million budget, are now looking at supposedly Pepe at 72. They've loaned Cabios and they've signed a young defender who thinks they're the biggest club in England for some reason. United have still only signed two in Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and for me, they need a hell of a lot more work done than that. And I think they are the side that are likely to go out and do like a Diabala or do a Gareth Bale, and it doesn't suit them, and they'll do it anyway because it just looks great. You've only signed Rodri, although I think they've signed a second player, I can't think of his name, and that's about it. But Grizz,
they brought a lad back from PSV, didn't they? Angelino.
Sorry, that's the player.
They had a buyback option on him, which they activated. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at it all in all, Grizz, just taking our situation with the situation that's there for all the other teams, has anyone made significant moves to change the order of, City, Liverpool? I think Chelsea came toward, didn't they? Spurs. And then Arsenal, United. Has anyone in the league made any kind of inroads in changing that? A, top 4, and B, top 6?
In my opinion, absolutely not. At this stage, if you're telling me that Arsenal signing an attacking winger and an attacking midfielder, right? Typical Arsenal signings. And if Man United think by buying a mid-table fullback, right back, is going to sort of make up the difference of 30 points that we finished ahead of these teams, their fans would tell you deluded. Their fans would say absolutely no, because we always look at ourselves and we're very self-critical, and it's fine. That's the way it should be, no problem. Always look after number one. But those teams are crying out for players. Spurs, all the news about Spurs and they're going to do this, they've actually only bought Ndombele, who's near enough a like for like, all right, a younger, more robust version of the Dembele that's who left them last season, who's injured. They're possibly going to lose Eriksen in the last week. Eriksen wants out. a lot of these teams have got a lot of instability about them. Lukaku moving. I mean, Lukaku's all right. Different opinions, but at the end of the day, he's got an amazing record in the Premier League. He's out of United. All right, they're going to go and spend 80 million on Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. At the moment, that's their signings, right? Does that make up the 30 points against us? Absolutely not. The only team we should be worried about, and of course are worried about, would be City, because they're such a machine. But let's not underplay what influence Vincent Kompany had on that team. He was their leader. He's their sort of easily the best central defender, even at his age. They've replaced him with a DM who's going to be played when Fernandinho can't play. Now, we go toe-to-toe with them again, and we've just lost out to that team by sort of, a millimetre of that ball going over the line at the Etihad, right? So I don't see where we've gone backwards, as everyone keeps saying. Or, standing still, possibly you can say, but no, because Koch, I don't know, cross between Poch and Klopp there.
Yeah.
But Klopp so many times has stressed that he believes he can coach the team and with the experience to be even better. And who are we? Look, let's be honest and humble about it. Who are we to go against possibly the best manager in the world at the moment? One of the top 3, if not at least the top 3 coaches in the world. Where do we get this sort of arrogance and opinion that, no, but we know that this is going to happen and this could happen? I find it bemusing and insane to even talk about it. Let the man do his job like he has been doing for the last 2-3 seasons, and what an amazing job he's been doing. So look, I've digressed from a bit from your point, but no, I don't think the other teams like your Chelsea can't do anything. Your Spurs, your Arsenals, your Man Uniteds have done enough to sort of bridge that gap between us and City. And I don't think City have done amazing business to sort of get away from us for our fan base to be in such a state it is.
Okay. Lads, the two of you now for the next 5 minutes, I want you to think of your favourite goal from last season. Doesn't have to be the best one. Just your favourite goal. I'm going to ask you at the end why. What your favourite goal is. People that are watching on YouTube and on Periscope, if you want to start putting in your comments for your favourite goal last season, and what I'll do is anyone that matches Grizz or Peter's choice will go into a draw for a prize from More Than a Game UK. More Than a Game are a company that do Liverpool phone covers, stickers, coasters, loads of different pieces of merchandise. So your last 5 minutes, your favourite Liverpool goal from last season, and I'll ask you right at the end, anyone that matches Peter's or Grizz's choice will go into that draw. What was the last thing I wanted to speak about? Oh, yes. So we go into this week now with Leon this week, and we go into Man City, and then we have Norwich, okay, and then the window closes in the meantime. Peter, do we need to see something results-wise in Leon and City before going into this Norwich game, or do you think they're just, again, they're too glorified friendlies and won't worry about it? And the reason I ask is because Andy in particular is not looking forward to this Community Shield because he feels that it's a chance for City or us to get kind of one up, going into the season. Do you agree with that, or do you just think he's reading too much into it because Andy's a bit mad?
I suppose there is a psychological point to the game. Obviously, the team that comes out on top is going to go into the season with the tails up and knowing that they've beat their closest rivals, if you like. So yeah, I do see that aspect to the game next Sunday. But yeah, I think the Leon game, the result doesn't matter so much as the Charity Shield one. I just think it's more about the team getting back to a sort of way of playing and getting the style back, getting how the pressing game back, because there's been no signs of it whatsoever from the previous games. I know there's been a lot of chopping and changing with substitutes and players starting different games. So I think it's time now that you did see that today when Klopp played played the first 11 for, I think it was 60 minutes, wasn't it? So I think you just need to see some stability in the starting lineup going into the season, which is why I think he might start with the youngsters against Lyon and then bring on the senior players later on in that game, maybe after even 20, 30 minutes. I think you might see the end of the game, the strongest 11 that he thinks he might be going into the season with. Against Manchester City, similar situation. I think it'll probably be the team that started today with a stronger bench going into that game. So yeah, I don't think the results are a massive factor in this. I think it's about getting back to a style of play and where we feel comfortable and getting some confidence into the team, which I think will come back when the other players come back into the side, especially Alisson. He's going to fill that back forward with confidence once again, knowing that them four know that they've got him behind him, as opposed to Simon Mignolet. It's going to different kettle of fish, isn't it? So, yeah, be interesting to see what happens against Lyon and then Manchester City at the weekend.
Okay. Jono says there that City are going to be weakened a lot in this Community Shield. I don't know why. I don't really keep up with them. But Grizz, for you, Lyon, then City, then the transfer window closes, then we play Norwich. I've already asked you what I want to see, but do you think anything hinges on any of these games and affects us going into Norwich?
Nah, absolutely not. We just pray for absolutely no injuries or anything of that kind. Just that's all it is. I couldn't give two hoots about forget the Lyon game. The Charity Shield is often talked about in terms of setting a marker, confidence, going up against the fact that we're playing our main rivals for the title. Some people may say, it gives a psychological edge to whoever wins it. I don't think it does. I mean, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head in terms of how many teams win the Charity Shield and then go on to win the league. I don't know if there's any sort of significance to that or a link to that.
Andy just thought it might be a psychological thing where we play them and they kind of we beat you. Andy was just. I think Andy's losing.
No, what does Klopp call us? We're mentality bastards or kings or something, isn't it?
Mentality monsters.
Yeah, a bit different from bastards.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I might have got that one wrong, but yeah.
I'm nearly sure you did.
That today.
Yeah.
Hey?
You just called them pricks today.
Yeah. Well, Anyway, so yeah, in terms of being mentally weak, that doesn't bother me. Even if they beat us, it won't bother us, or it won't bother. Definitely won't bother the Klopp and the team. So it's just a matter of getting those lads back, the main guys back, getting some form of rhythm, and just all systems go from Norwich, man. The next 2 weeks, the next 10 days is going to be hell on social media and Twitter, regardless of what happens. Unless we sort of go and sign, Dembele, regardless of whatever happens, it's going to be murder on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's best to just avoid it and just look.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh yeah,
it absolutely is. Yeah, Jono says the Manchester Evening News is saying they won't have Mahrez, Aguero, Ederson, Jesus, Fernandinho, Otamendi.
Who cares?
All that sort of stuff. So Jono's just filling us in with that, and he's saying if we lost to a team without those guys, it would be embarrassing. He has a fair point. If we went full strength and then we went out against a very weak.
Neither team will go full strength.
No, I don't think they will. I think that they'll be working. It'll all depend. Simply because of the amount of players coming back, they're going to try walk around them and try lead them into the season in the best possible way. So what was I going to say? Yeah, Grizz, before we go, your favourite goal from last season. Doesn't have to be the best, just your favourite goal from last season. Hit me.
Oh, my favourite goal was Mo Salah's against Chelsea.
Okay.
The emotion of it, everything. Just my mother-in-law praying. And then within a second of her praying, Mo Salah putting it in the top corner.
Okay.
Was just, I was in tears, mate.
All right. Peter, your favourite goal from last season?
You're on mute.
Oh, Peter. I don't know what's happened there. Peter, are you there?
Yeah, is that working now?
Yeah, you're fine there, right? So give me your...
I've got a favourite top 3, really. It's hard to choose, but in terms...
he's well worse than you. He's not down 3, just give me 1.
Importance. I'll have to get my favourite goal. It wasn't the most important goal. The most important one was Origi in the Champions League final. But my favourite goal was Mo Salah against Chelsea at home in the 2-2 draw.
You both went for the same goal. Unbelievable.
We've both gone for the same goal.
Right. Well, what I'll do is I know that's okay. I'll throw my favourite goal in. My favourite goal was, I'm going to be honest and say, Mane away to Bayern Munich. Listen, it was big in the game. You know, we ended up winning 3-1 on the night, but the ball, the touch, the making a fool of Neuer, the 2 defenders on the line, and he chips it. He wins it for that, and he only just about beats the one against Watford where he's back to goal and he backheels it past Ben Foster, I think, is in goal. An outrageous goal. So we'll go with Salah and we'll go with Mane away to Munich. If anyone said those, I will look up the feed between the time I announced that and now, and whoever's matched that, we'll put them in the draw for the prize. That's been the Fatback 4. That's been 55 odd minutes, I think. So we're getting really good at this. 57 minutes. Peter's daughter has joined us to say hello. I can see her in the picture there. Mart, you're always welcome.
She's being very shy. Say hello to everybody, Layla. No,
she's not saying hello. She's not saying hello. There we go. We got away.
I want to say hello to Gav either.
But look, that's been the Fatback 4 for today, Sunday. I will be back tomorrow evening. Sorry, no, there's no show tomorrow evening. I will be back on Tuesday at 10 p.m. and we will go from there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for commenting. Peter, thanks a million for joining me. Grizz, thanks a million for joining me. We will see you next week with the Fatback 4. Over and out.